And now we are moving to Rotterdam. Rotterdam, we have a guest, a presenter from Rotterdam, Frank Vieveen. He is the city lead of the Smart City program of the City of Rotterdam, and I'm keen to hear about this because I visited Rotterdam just 5 years ago, and from that time the city has rapidly changed. So I call Frank. Frank, are you here? Are you here with us?
I'm here.
Hey.
Do you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. The floor is yours. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll share my screen.
Good.
A moment. Oh. Okay.
Okay, we got it. Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Perfect, perfect. Yeah.
Because I can't see you in the moment.
I see it.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for the opportunity to present the digital transformation that Rotterdam is going through. I'm going to tell you about the Smart City program of Rotterdam, which is part of that. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Frank Vieveen. I'm the program manager for the Smart City and Digital Economy program, and also the city lead for the Smart City development. I work for the department. So the Smart City program also I see in Europe is often positioned as part of the ICT department. We choose to have it part of the program development department. For those of you who are not aware of Rotterdam, Rotterdam is in the western part of the Netherlands. We are forming a metropolitan area with the city of The Hague. The metropolitan area is 2.3 million people living there. In Rotterdam itself, 640,000 residents, and we have about 300,000 houses. What we see in cities happening is that a city is usually a place where people live, work, recreate together, where companies, where you can work, where visitors come. Usually it's a physical place, and what we see is that the interaction that people have in cities are becoming more digitalized. So what we see is the city as a platform, as a place to interact is changing. You see that with cars, which soon will be self-driving, which have a lot of sensors, with the interaction by your phone, mobile phone, with robotics and things like that, smart buildings, smart houses, of course, and all kind of sensoring that is located in cities. It's a picture of Rotterdam, by the way. Also with a picture of the largest building of Europe in there in the middle. So we need to come to a new definition of the city, we think. So we usually, as a city, we think we have a social reality, we have a physical reality, but now we also are facing a digital reality, and a digital reality which is not very good visible for us as those who are responsible for building and developing our city. So that is a challenge that we that we're facing. So and also this is an old picture that I think this might still be useful. That I'm working now in smart city development for the last 6 years in the city of Rotterdam, and it's all about smart city is a system of systems. So if you turn a wheel on some area, and let's say mobility, it has an impact on maybe quality of life or environment or economy. So it's a very complex system, and by the way, very challenging, and that's why I love my job, because I love challenging things. So, for instance, sensors in traffic. What we have when it's busy, we measure with infrared sensors. We got a bicycle plan. We want to have people. Most people know that the Netherlands is a bicycle land, but we want to improve that. So we increased the number of bicycles in our city with 40% in the last few years. So it becomes so we got traffic jams of bicycles now in traffic lights. But also we want to improve cycling. So when it's raining, we put sensors, rain sensors, and traffic lights for bicycles. So they got the longer green period. But instead of installing now, that's what the first phase. But the second phase is that we also have a rain radar, big rain radar, from a European program, Rain Gain. And now we use that data to provide information for the traffic lights. And that is what we see is often the challenge within doing things like that. So instead of having a traffic light with a sensor, we have to use the rain radar, which is initially installed for our water program to manage the amount of water falling and that away from our streets. Now we also use that rain radar for our bicycle plan. Dynamic garbage collection. We installed this 6,500 garbage containers with filling degrees sensors. So they measure how full it is with the garbage, because we want to have clean streets, safe streets. So we want to have always the capacity for our citizens to throw away their garbage. But we saw that it's not only installing sensor is not the solution by itself. So what we did is also provided. You see that the right top corner, the top of the garbage containers, but people were still putting that aside, the garbage of these garbage containers. So we thought, okay, let's make it less inviting to put it aside, but also provide information. So if it doesn't fit in the garbage container, there's a phone number you can call that, and the oversized garbage will be collected free of charge by giving a phone call. So it's also about, it's not about technology, it's also about change of attitude. Also with our city services, we are now moving to 24/7 digital city services because people are used by the big online stores, for instance, 24/7 available. So we need to keep up with the expectations of our citizens. And we're also experimenting. We got one colleague of mine is doing everything with robotics and services, city services. So also huge learning. Way of learning how to deal with it and how to interact with citizens also in a digital area. Our narrative here is the road-next economy for the last years, for the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years. So together with Jeremy Rifkin, he helped us and his team to define, let's say, what are the big transitions. Because what I just shown you are just some kind of city services that we all have to work on that. But we also have to keep in mind the bigger picture. So we call that the road-next economy. So we say, okay, we need to be on the top of our ability of digitalization. We need to, and we also need to be aware of the digital transition that we are in the middle. We need to move to an energy transition. We're working on a circular economy, so we also have the sustainability transition, and we need to also adapt our way of working, business models, that's the entrepreneurial area, and how do people fit in there. So that is moving in thinking in transitions instead of just step-by-step evolution. And that has also been part of the narrative for our city policy. It's in Dutch here, New Energy for Rotterdam. This is the current way of thinking that we want to fit in the big picture. So we got now a full circular program. We say garbage is not garbage, but garbage is actually gold. So it's gold transport. That's our garbage trucks. They are now painted in gold paint and it's gold transport, because we think, okay, the garbage is really good, so we can reuse it. So we got our sustainability program, our energy transition program, and also we have our resilience strategies, the resilience program, because we think that as a city, it's not only about the most innovative. How are you able to deal with all the challenges that you're facing with the hazards that we're facing? Because we all know we are in a climate change. So how can we as a city deal with the water challenges that we have? The rain is intensifying. We got rising sea levels, and we are a city at sea. So how are we going to deal with that kind of situation? How can digitalization help with that? So these are our resilience goals. I'm not going through them all, but you see that cyber resilience, for instance, but also the infra resilience, the critical infra resilience is very important. It's a very important part of our resilience strategy. But that also means that we have to experiment. So we are already scaling up solutions, as you just saw with the garbage collection. But so we also think, okay, how can we deploy sensors in a sensible way? So we had a field lab for the last 2 years in an urban area. Just a very normal urban area, not in the city center, southern part of Rotterdam. And we asked, okay, how are sensors perceived? What do residents think of the sensors? Our citizens, do they want to know what data we have, what we collect? Are they interested in participating in doing things with data? How do we organize this? All things that we discussed with our citizens in that area, in that neighborhood. The results are very impressive, and on a number of aspects we discussed that. So, and it is also again about the integral vision and approach that we have. We had 19 projects in the Living Lab with 21 companies, 5 knowledge institutes and universities, 55 professionals were involved, and also 8 people just coming from school, young professionals. So we looked at what is the legal aspects, what is IoT architecture, how do we include participation, and of course the digital part. So this is just in Dutch, but so I don't expect you to understand it fully, but it's very important to understand that it's a multi-factor approach that we did here in a very local level. But also on an international level, we have our Horizon 2020 project, that is a lighthouse, smart city lighthouse project, ruggedized. We do that together with cities in Sweden, if I am correct, in Umeå, and in a city in Scotland, Glasgow, sorry, and also a follower city in Brno, which is, I think, very nearby by you. And this is more about this project started in 2016 already, and this is also incorporating about the huge transitions that we were working on, and this is about the number of projects, thermal energy, waste and heat collection. It's about if we use not a normal energy grid, but let's say, I don't know how do you explain that in English, but a more efficient energy grid. How can we involve parking lots? How can we optimize our e-buses that we have from the public transport? How can we use IoT networks? How can we put efficient and intelligent public lighting in there, and things like that. 13 projects now coming to this year or early next year, and a lot of lessons learned of that. And also very good to be inspired by other cities. So in Europe. This is one of the examples that we use both in the Ruggedized project and also in the Living Lab. And this is also to experiment and innovate and looking at another way of how you implement city infrastructure. So, because I always say, why do we have infrastructure in your house and not on the street? So this is actually more the connection box in the street. And why do you always have to have the smart stuff in top of the light pole? We think, okay, the light pole is there for 40 years, but the technology changes every 3 to 6 years. So let's make that modular. It makes that more. Let's look at a combined framework where you can also implement, or architecture where you can implement all these technical devices. And what's not in the picture here is some kind of sensor hotel that you just can use sensors in a plug-and-play way. It's about another way of thinking. How can we do things, and how can we make it ourselves more easy? Also very important is, and that's becoming more and more important, I noticed last year, is that we're participating in the Living in EU framework there. So how can we create also a level playing field? If we use digital tools and solutions for the challenges that we're facing, because we do not do this because we like it. We like to do that, but we are facing real challenges, economical way, social, urban, and how do we provide privacy, for instance, by design, and security by design? How can we provide transparency? Transparency, does it mean that I have to inform every 640,000 citizens in our beautiful city? Do I send them a letter when I implement something, or is that another way? So also define what is transparency, and how do we? These are real. Also the questions that our city council are asking us as people who are working on smart cities. Okay, help us with defining or answering these questions, because in the end, the city is a super complex environment. It's actually what I say a wicked problem. And what we try to do then is, can we visualize that on a digital layer? So we got a full 3D model of our city. We call it a digital city, and more data is implemented in the digital layer. Parking places, for instance, but also we got a full map of all our trees, for instance, in our city, so we can really identify and also visualize the trees in our city. So but in order to do that, we really need an open urban platform. And we do not think there's only one open urban platform. We think we are moving to a situation that we have multiple urban platforms all interconnecting with each other. We are also working that closely together with the Open Agile Smart Cities group, European group. And also we are working on a local level with the city of The Hague in the province of located in, and also trying to get that working. A lot of questions need to be answered. Okay, who's managing that? You do not want to have the middleman have all the power. So, and how do we work together with other parties in that? And we think it's also a very powerful tool if you can use that for co-creation. So, for instance, if you have a full map of everything in our city, also the underground, then you can also provide that information and interact with people, with citizens and businesses, how to how can you implement their wishes? For instance, if there's a green area we have to fill in the playground, you can really identify, okay, this is not a good place for something in that playground because there's some infrastructure underground. But if you move it 2 meters, that's a perfect place. So how can we then have the interaction with our citizens? Actually working right now, and just as we decided that we can move on for the next couple of years with implementing this in a real level. Recently, this year we assigned Bas Boersma. He's our Chief Digital Officer. Bas Boersma has a very clear view on how we do the next step beyond the smart cities movement that we're talking about. And Bas has the challenge, I say real, that's his challenge, to, let's say, do all we've got a lot of programs, we've got smart city, resilience, sustainability, I just shown them to you. But how can we use all that kind of things going on and make it really valuable for our citizens, because that is what we do, for our businesses, for our economy. And that is not a technical question issue, just like Jill said. It's about it's not the technical is not the thing. It's about the citizen and about the businesses that we have, that our city is vibrant. So that's in my view, and in also Bas's view, we're very closely together with him. It's a very organizational question, and he said together with our vice major, we said, okay, what we need to be, what is our objective is in the next few years to be an example city in the digital transformation process. That does not mean that you are the best or the biggest, but it is how do you get the highest value out of the things that you do to deal with the challenges that we have. And that is our way forward to become the digital example city, where you have all the kind of things. So this is just a picture to make it more visible to people understand, okay, what are we talking about? Thank you for your attention. I talked too much, I guess. So if you got any question, please.
Thank you very much. I think we got a very wide overview of your development in Rotterdam. I like the slogan of the city, the Rotterdam Make It Happen, which tells that you are doing, not planning, not thinking about something.
But it's not a city of the municipality slogan. It is the city slogan. So we share that with a lot of other institutes. The university use it. A lot of other businesses and parties may use that slogan. So.
Understood. And just notice about your waste management program. It is unbelievable. I guess that you are looking at waste as gold. I like it, and I just try to figure out. Amsterdam was the city of gold for a while, and nowadays Rotterdam will be. Okay, so thank you very much for your presentation. I think we are out of time, and our expert from Vienna is waiting for us. Thank you, Fram. Thanks.
Thank you.